One of the cool things about Drush is that it's really easily extensible, so contrib module authors can write their own Drush commands for their modules. So let's take a look at a few contrib modules that come with their own Drush commands that are useful. The first example is the backup and migrate module. So this is a really great way to provide an interface on your website to create backups of the database and backups of the code that you can download. You can actually schedule them so they happen at regular times. It's just a really easy, great way to back your site up. If I hop over and run Drush and take a look at some of the commands that backup and migrate provides, there's this BAM backup command, which backs up the site's database. There's BAM backups, which will give me a list of the previous backup files that have been created. BAM destinations will show me the possible storage locations for the backups I create. BAM profiles will give me a list of the settings profiles that backup and migrate module can use. BAM restore should be treated with care. That will actually restore your current database from a previous version that's been made with the backup and migrate module. And BAM sources will give us a list of available destinations that it can pull old backups from. Another really great example of a contrib module that comes with Drush integration is the features module. We actually have an entirely different video series on a deployment workflow using features in Drush that I encourage you to take a look at. But just to kind of quickly hit the highlights, I've got a demo site over here that has a blog feature set up. So I can run, well, first let's take a look at the features commands that we have available in Drush. The first one we're going to take a look at is features list, which shows us a list of the features on the site. So I'll go ahead and run drush fl for features list, and we'll see that the My Blog feature is currently enabled, and it's in an overridden state. So something has changed via the admin interface that hasn't been exported to code. So if I go back up and look at the feature commands again, we'll see that one of the other commands the module offers is features diff, which will show us the differences. So if I go ahead and run drush fd and then the name of my feature, which in this case is my_blog, we'll see that this looks like it's a view, and we're adding a handler override to show 20 items per page that wasn't there before. So we'll say that someone went in and made that by mistake, and we don't actually want that change on our site. So another command that features provides is revert, to revert to the state of the feature that's in code, ignoring what's in the database. So we can go ahead and run drush fr and the name of the feature, and that will ask us if we're sure. We'll go ahead and say yes, and it reverts the settings on that view. So now when I run feature list again, we'll see that it's no longer overridden. And if I hop over to the demo site and edit the My Blog feature, we'll now be able to see that we're currently displaying 10 items per page instead of the 20 that used to be there. But let's say that we really don't want this to be 10 either. We actually want 15 items per page, and it'd probably be a good idea if we have a pager, since this is a blog and I'll probably write more than 15 posts. So we'll go ahead and add those two settings and then resave this view. And then back over in Drush, let's run feature list again just to see the feature is in fact overridden. We can take a look at the feature diff again with drush fd and see the changes that we've made. We'll again see that it's a view that's changed, and items per page is now set to 15, and the use pager setting is now a 1 or true, so we're going to be using a pager. There's another features command in Drush called feature update that will pull in the settings that are in the database and write those to code. That's actually what's being shown with feature diff here. So I can go ahead and run drush fu for feature update and the name of the feature. And this will actually, after I confirm it, this will actually grab the current settings that Views was saving in the database and copy them back into code. So now if this site is in version control, I can go ahead and check those changes into my version control system so they're not lost and they don't accidentally get deleted down the road. Another module which provides Drush commands is the migrate module. So migrate module can be used for importing content into your Drupal site from old legacy systems, other CMSs, all sorts of things. If we take a look at the Drush help, and we scroll up to the section on migrate, we'll see that we can take a look at the different types of migrations that are available. We can show the field mapping. We can actually perform a migration with the migrate import command. We can check on the status of a migration with migrate status, or we can just delete all of the nodes that we've been trying to migrate if we didn't quite have our configuration correct. So that's a really handy tool. Another module that provides some great Drush commands is Apache Solr. So just like the core search module, Solr provides a list of commands that will let you re-index or update the index or actually perform searches via the command line for certain keywords using Apache Solr. So if you need to interact with your Apache Solr server from the command line, this is a really handy way to do it. The other contrib module we're going to take a look at is a little bit different because it's not a Drupal module that you'll install on your site. It's actually an extension to Drush itself called Drush Make. Drush Make allows you to create a really simple text file that tells Drush which collection of modules it should go out and download to create a Drupal site out of the box without you having to go visit each individual module page and download them, or even using Drush to download individual modules. So let's take a look at an example makefile. We have a Drupal distribution called Videola on GitHub, and here's a look at our starter makefile. So you can see that it's mostly just plain text. The lines that start with a semicolon here are just comments. It basically just says we want the 6.x version of core, and we're using version 2 of the API, and we want the Drupal project. You can see here that we could also use PressFlow if we didn't want to use Drupal, and we can also use another Drush makefile to set up an install profile from this Drush makefile. So you can nest makefiles to download even more pieces. The profile that we're actually nesting here is this videola.make itself. So here you'll see this file is a little bit longer. This is where we're actually specifying we'd like the admin module, the admin role module with this particular version, the advanced help module, the better formats module, etc. You can see this is a pretty long list. Down at the bottom here, you can see that you can also do things like check out sandboxes that don't have official releases on Drupal.org by pulling them out of a Git repository with this particular URL. You can also download libraries, things like jQuery UI, and rather than downloading those, unzipping them, naming them the correct thing, and putting them in the right place, if that's specified in your Drush makefile, Drush will take care of doing all of that for you. You can also specify patches that need to be applied to particular modules. Maybe these are things that you've submitted to a module maintainer on Drupal.org, but they haven't found their way to be part of an official release of the module yet. The Drush Make allows you to keep those in code, keep them added to your site without having to wait for the contrib module maintainer to get them included in a release. So to see this in action, we'll take a look at this README file, and here's what a typical Drush Make command looks like. So let's go ahead and run that. So here's our Drush Make command that we copied over from the Videola project. It's Drush Make. In this case, we're providing a URL to a makefile. This could also just be a file that's on our laptops. And then the last thing, Videola, here is just the name of the directory we're going to create with all of this stuff. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. And what Drush does is it goes out and grabs that Videola starter file that we're mentioning in the command. It sees that it wants Drupal 6, so it goes and grabs the latest version of Drupal 6. Then it pulls in the other profile that it found. It reads that profile's makefile and sees the list of modules that we want to install. So it's going out and grabbing the latest versions or the versions that we've specified of each of those modules and downloading that code as well. So we're using Drush make to build our Drupal site for us. Whew, it looks like the Drush make command is done. And now we have this Videola directory. So let's hop in there and see what we've got. So here it's just a regular Drupal install. And in this particular case, the way this is set up is as an install profile. So if I go into the profiles directory, and then the Videola directory, and then modules, and then contrib, we'll see the list of modules from Drupal.org that Drush make went out and downloaded for us. This can definitely save a lot of time when it comes to setting up new versions of a site. A lot of times, one of the first steps we'll do is create a Drush make file for a particular project that lists out all the modules we know we're going to need. And then rather than all of us having to go out and download these modules, we can just run a one-line Drush make command to pull everything we need in. It's especially handy for integrating the libraries and patches that we saw in the Videola example. One more Drush command that's just kind of fun is the Drush make me a sandwich command. If we take a look at the output of that, Drush make me a sandwich, Drush responds with an error, asking us, what? Make your own sandwich. You might be wondering why there's a Drush make me a sandwich command. If any of you are XKCD fans, you might remember comic number 149. Sudo make me a sandwich. Let's try that. Sudo Drush make me a sandwich. Enter in my password, and there I have a tasty sandwich built by Drush. Awesome. This has just been a quick walkthrough with a few Drush commands that are provided by contrib modules. If you want to take a look at what's available on your own site, the best thing to do is to just run Drush and have a look. Take a look at which commands are available, and if you see one that looks like it might save you some time from clicking around in the admin interface, the best thing to do is to just use the help flag and read the documentation provided by the command itself. A lot of times you'll be able to save yourself a lot of time in clicking boxes on the admin interface. There's probably a Drush command for it.